So I was talking to a friend this morning about actually my last um, reading for the new moon in Sagittarius, about it being the last opportunity to manifest. And there's a flip side to that as well. Like, you don't have to put pressure on yourself to manifest for the rest of the year. This has been really tough year for majority of us. And so I want to reflect on the energy of, well, reflection, closure, and renewal. A lot of times, I usually don't do like New Year's Eve or New Year's and stuff like that. I do it on my birthday, which is in February. But this year, I've taken enough, I've paced myself to the point where I can pause and reflect and look back. And the one thing I want to talk about that's going to be pretty big about Sagittarius season is, from here out until like, 2/3 through December, is the opportunity that you have to take a break and to pause and to like actually reflect back on your year. If you don't have that energy or that forward drive to kind of force whatever out of yourself that you don't have right now, that is totally fine. Embrace that energy of reflection, because for the majority of us, we've all had a pretty big year, and we've also learned a lot about ourselves. By the way, this shuffle's for you, Rania. I know you're watching. Ooh, that was big. I feel like in my neck of the woods, at least, this year is about figuring out who you are when things are not at the best of where they should be, right? To me, a lot of people in my neck of the woods have been in survival mode. We've been in fight or flight. We've been in, oh my God, this reading is beautiful. We've been in, check in on your neighbor mode and micro community mode, right? It's almost like we're a step ahead of the game. But in just taking a beat, right? And looking back, even before Hurricane Helene or before election season, like, I want you to just look back and just out of curiosity, reflect on the past year, reflect on 2024, and I want you to take a beat and write down all the things that have shifted and changed, right? For me, when I was doing this exercise, the first thing that I realized in 2024, and of course, this is something I talked about ad nauseum before that, but I finally found a healthy love, a healthy romantic love. And I'm super grateful for it every day, right? And as an extension of that love, I found an amazing family in my partner's family, and I'm very happy about that. As an extension of that, for the first time, I'm having a holiday season where I'm not punishing myself, for losing my brother. And that's something that's really big. It's like I can't believe I'm admitting this like on purpose, but like I put up a tree like before Thanksgiving, right? And I usually hate people like that. But I was also doing Halloween in mid-August, looking for pumpkins and getting really mad about it. But I just found myself wanting to be present and be in the moment. And that for me was a further growth. It was like further healing. I officially had my first full year of business with Magical Thinking, where I wasn't a television producer on top of it. I let go of my Avion, little Jack, crossed the bridge. And, I'm for the first time in 20 years operating without a cat. That won't be lasting very long though. There's so many things, my sobriety, I'm coming up on 11 months at this point, almost a year. There's so many things that I think about, like major shifts that I made. And I'm also, while I'm still manifesting for the end of the year, I'm celebrating all of that. So that said, I want you to, and I'm going to read, I've got the Rider-Waite deck here, a version of it. I want you to do the same thing, like write down 5 big things that have shifted in the past year. And then I want you to celebrate it. And like, the way that I would normally do it is, Yule logs are perfect for this, but I would actually just light, get 5 white or light blue candles and light them in a row and just like watch them burn down and celebrate and be happy. In the reading, current energy is Magician, right? Magician is a beautiful card because it means that you're capable of anything. You could manifest and bring forward anything. I want you to give yourself the credit of what you've manifested. The challenge, though, is mastering that reality, right? I was talking to my mom about this the other day, just the power of positive thinking. and what that has to do with manifesting, and then that leads into witchcraft and like manifestation and all of those things. But there's like the white lady version of manifesting where it's, it's like the white women with their crystals and shit. And then there's actually like someone who does like positive thinking, right? Where it's like it's a lot more like shadow work, scratching the surface, much like deeper and darker than you'd normally go. Therapy, which to me, that's another thing that this past year, if it was not for my therapist, and I love her so much, I wouldn't be where I was at either. But that took a lot, to move in that direction. But Emperor energy is about it's about, mastering the art of what you're doing, right? It's like if you are bringing forward beautiful new beginnings in your life, the challenge is actually like not taking them for granted, which is what a lot of people do. You get caught up in that toxic productivity environment where you're not giving thanks and being grateful for what you had put behind you. You're still focusing ahead on the future. And I feel like there's a toxic level to that. And like that's kind of being a little bit too far in your masculine. The outcome of kind of embracing the dualities of the two is the Fool. Like these are all major arcana, by the way. But the Fool is like coming at a new beginning, which, it's like take the month to really just marinate in the really beautiful things that you did. And when you give yourself credit for like the really hard shit that you were able to pull together, then it gives you the ability to look towards the future with curiosity and joy, right? The Fool is it's a fantastic Aries card, but the Fool energy is that curiosity, and it's that like, I date myself, but it's like pizzazz, right? It's like the enthusiasm that it takes to create a new beginning when you're really excited about something. When I'm teaching people about how to do divination, a lot of the times, I remind kind of like the old heads that I teach, because I teach people who are like newbies. I call them like normies, but like people who like are curious about doing divination. That level of excitement will ensure, and curiosity will ensure the fact that they'll get results from it. Whereas a lot of old heads are people who are really into magic and really into intuition in the way that I am, that we've been doing it for a few decades. We kind of become a little bit bored, disillusioned. Sometimes like we become disattached from it. And we have to remember when we're diving into something new to have that enthusiasm to make it work, right? And the heart of all three of these cards, the Magician, Emperor, and the Fool, is really about mastering the fact that like everything's a lesson, and you really have to, you're gonna be stagnant in your life until you harness that art of positive thinking. The more that you think in that way and shift your perception, then the more exponential your results become. And then you're able to look back at a certain amount of time where you were able to really grow in a lot of ways. Instead of focusing on where you haven't grown, you're celebrating where you have. And that is the theme of what I wanted to talk about, is that for the rest of December, for those who aren't interested in manifesting, this is where you need to be, is giving gratitude and providing space on where it deserves on the work that you've done this year, because this has been a really tough year. And if you've gotten, even halfway there, then you're, further along than where you were before, right? And you need to celebrate that. So I hope everyone has a good rest of their weekend. Take care.